Victoria and I run a company called Health at Hand. I'm going to demonstrate Swedish massage today, which normally takes 1 hour. It is good for boosting circulation, lymph drainage, to release toxins and to thoroughly relax the mind and the body. Those who should not have Swedish massage are perhaps the very elderly, the frail, those with very high blood pressure or recuperating from recent operations, or those pregnant ladies who would find it difficult lying on their stomachs. The purpose of today's programme is to give you an insight into what happens when visiting a therapist and to give you a few hints to be able to massage yourself or your family. When finding a good therapist, make sure they are qualified and insured. They should make you feel welcome and give you a thorough consultation before treatment, and you should be able to get on with them. I hope you enjoy the programme and find it helpful. I'm now going to demonstrate the Swedish massage, always working at the front of the body first of all, starting on the right leg, using plenty of oil to massage upwards, firm massage upwards towards the heart. This movement is called effleurage. And pushing any toxins down the quadriceps, upwards towards the lymph node in the groin area, called the inguinal lymph node. And there again, using my knuckles to push any toxins upwards along the hamstrings at the back of the thigh. Nice tug to stretch the leg, keeping the client completely covered apart from the limb being massaged. When massaging any of the joints, it just feels the most wonderful feeling, like you're really warming the area and at the same time draining the area of any toxins. Using my thumbs here to push any toxins from this area and then down to the lymph node at the back of the knee. Moving on to the ankle, giving the joint a nice mobility, circling there, sometimes feeling them crunch at the same time, and then smoothing out all the toxins around the joint. It's a lovely feeling when you have your ankles massaged. And then coming up the foot, doing my petrissage movement between the metatarsal bones which connect the toes and along the feet, and then pushing all those toxins away. That can be quite a painful massage for the client, but you need to get rid of those toxins. And then coming down, massaging behind the foot here. It's a beautiful movement, nice and firm and stretching the toes. That movement will massage all the nerve endings, and in line with the metamorphic technique and reflexology, it will massage all the energy lines. Lovely feeling as stretching up the foot. And then massaging each toe individually. So it's a massage down a nice mobility circle, and then a gentle tug. Nothing too much. You don't want to hear a click unless the toe wants to click. Now moving on to the left leg. Again, only revealing the limb that needs to be massaged. Introducing myself to this side of the body with the effleurage movement, using plenty of oil, otherwise the skin tends to stick to the hand and it will rub too much friction. And as you can see, a nice pull as you come down. So firm upwards, lightly down, and then a little tug. Moving the knee up. And again, massaging down the quadricep. And along the back of the hamstrings. Always working outwards towards the buttock. Working on the left knee. That lovely movement, pushing all the toxins away and down. It's strange, sometimes you can feel crystals round one knee and not round the other. Maybe someone has arthritis or another joint problem. And that just feels wonderful when it's being massaged. You can do a great deal of help around joints. And a nice circular motion around the ankle, a nice tug, and move the crystals again downwards to the back of the ankle. Pushing all the toxins down through the metatarsal bones. And then the back of the foot. A nice stretch. Wonderful feeling. The secret here around the foot is not to be what I'd call a wet lettuce, which is no gentle movements. You need to be nice and firm, otherwise people can be very ticklish around the sole and the toes. You just need to be nice and firm so that the person knows where you are all the time. Nice stretch down the back of the foot. Lovely. Having finished both legs, I can now cover them up, make them feel nice and warm and secure, and also get a handy pillow, raise the knees, put the pillow under the thighs and knees, knees down, and that makes the client feel very secure and it releases any pressure from the lower back. How does that feel? Good. All right. Okay, now moving on to the stomach area. As you can see again, only the area of body being massaged is revealed. Just getting some oil. Warming the oil in my hands and introducing my hands to the body. One note to make about all of these massage areas is that you'll notice that I never remove my hands from the body. I'm always in contact. One hand is always in contact, apart from when I finish an area or if I have to adjust towels. The stomach area demonstrates why a therapist needs to know anatomy and physiology in depth. The reason is with the stomach is obviously the colon works from this area in an upside down horseshoe round and down here out to the bowel. There's an ileocecal valve here which works from the intestines, and the ileocecal valve can get blocked, so this is a nice area just to massage in this direction, never in the other direction. So upwards here from the small intestines to the colon. And then what I'm doing is following the colon round. It's a nice movement, very relaxing. It can relieve a lot of stomach upset in children or adults. And then doing some back sweeps. And down the sides, and a nice pull up over the hips. Nice and firm. Again, the hips are a joint and they love being massaged. It's a nice area to massage. They can spring, or they should spring, so when you pull them together they should spring apart slightly. Lovely. And then a nice stomach effleurage around the stomach to finish off. That's nice. Okay, how did that feel?
That was lovely.
Good. Okay, now working on the left arm. Just reveal the one limb, making sure the body's nice and warm in there, and introducing the oil to the body. Just using a bit more oil there, always keeping contact. And now bringing the arm up, which is a nice movement because gravity is helping you to push all the lymph down towards the lymph node under the armpit, which is called the auxiliary lymph node. And this is a nice movement, again for mobility. You'll notice that quite a lot of Swedish massage is working on the mobility of the joints, not just massaging the body. That's a nice one for the shoulder. And again, flexibility. Just let your arm completely drop. Wonderful. Lovely. The floppier the better. Okay. Gentle tug. And release. Lovely. And this is a wonderful movement down the forearm. When we work on computers or other manual jobs, we're working very much with the tendons down the forearm here, especially with computers where you don't put your wrist down or your elbow. You're raising your whole arm from your shoulder, and it puts a lot of pressure on the forearm here. So this movement is lovely to drain all the fluid and release all the pressure that builds up subconsciously. Just release the pressure there, lovely. And draining all that fluid down. And again on the other side. Nice squeezes and then drain. You'll notice that when I do that the fingers tend to curl because I'm working on the tendons there. They do that automatically. And a nice pull. Another effleurage as normal. And then working on the wrist and the hand. So before I do that, just covering the arm up, keep it warm, coming round, nice rotation on the wrist, and again just like the ankle, the rotation and then the massage around the wrist there. Beautiful movement, always pushing the fluid to the back, because there's the lymph nodes that work all along here, and the nearest lymph node to the end of the hand and the fingers here, the nearest one is here, and then another one under the armpit. And this one has to drain and eat all the fluids, all the toxins from the rest of the extremity here, so hence pushing all that fluid upwards. It's a lovely feeling. Now I'm working just the same as the foot, pushing the fluid between the metacarpals as opposed to the metatarsals, and a nice massage, rotation and a gentle tug. This one really feels lovely. We have so many nerve endings in our hands and fingers that when we massage them, it is so relaxing. If they happen to click, it doesn't matter. Obviously the finger or whatever joint needed to be released. But when massaging, I'm not looking for clicks and just hoping to release any extra tension there. The one nice thing about massaging fingers, as you can see here, is Pamela normally wears rings on this finger, and it's nice to massage that area. It's such a lovely feeling when you have an area massage which normally completely protected by jewellery. Normally ears and fingers are the lovely areas to massage. Lovely. And turning the palm over, stretching the hand out and using my thumbs to massage alternately the centre of the palm. This area in reflexology terms is called the solar plexus, which on our bodies is actually up here, and it's the centre of our emotions, our feelings, whether we feel stressed or happy. And it's such a lovely area to massage and have massaged. And a nice stretch and off. And covering the limb. How did that feel, Pam? Yeah, good. Now I'm going to turn Pamela over. So Pam, if you'd like to turn any way. Okay. I'm going to remove the pillow. Wonderful. Okay. Now revealing the back of the leg, ready to massage the back of the client. Okay, just move your hands slightly. Wonderful. There we are. The oil I'm using, grapeseed, is especially good for people who don't want to put on weight with the massage, because unfortunately some oils will absorb into the body and add fat to the body. And the other good thing about it is it's not at all gloopy. It's a nice thin oil to use, and it goes nicely onto the skin. There we are. Using that good old effleurage again, and then working on the lower leg. First of all on the Achilles tendon, and then working up the back of the calf muscle. There's actually a few muscles here, but the main one is the gastrocnemius muscle, which has 2 heads and 1 foot. So when working up, I'm able at about halfway to apply pressure with my thumbs into the centre, where there's normally a pool of lymph, if you like, which is the white blood cells eating up all the toxins, and I'm pushing them upwards and behind the knee here. There's another lymph node here, just like behind the elbow, and again that's the nearest one to the extremity. So hence why I'm pushing up all toxins up to the back of the knee. Working up to the inner thigh. First of all sweeps, then some kneading. This is a wonderful massage, really feels like you're getting deep into the muscle, and by this stage the hands and the part of the body being massaged are really nice and warm. There's a lot of energy following the hands round the body. And then some squeezing motion by picking up the muscle. And effleuraging up, this is where I move round the couch and work on the other side of the upper thigh. And again, some squeezing. You all right? Yeah. And some kneading. And then on to some of the percussion movements. That's a nice feeling. Though the first one there was called cupping, and the second one is hacking, both called percussion movements. Now with some new oil on my hands, massaging up the side of the hip and up to the buttock. As you can see, I'm using my thenar muscle here nice and strongly to bring the circulation upwards and into the centre of the buttock. Using a new technique here called petrissage, massaging firmly into the centre of the buttock. 3 nice swipes. And some squeezing. Some kneading. And eventually the percussion moves. as you can see, the area is just slightly rosy all the way up the thigh to the buttock, which is a good sign. That's wonderful. That's what any therapist is after, and it means the circulation is coming to the area with oxygen and nutrients, helping to heal the area, get the circulation back in again. Okay, and coming round, and then a nice long effleurage again to tell the whole leg I'm still there, and then raising the lower leg, again using gravity work for me, and some nice sweeps down the back of the calf muscle, and then applying some pressure to the sole. Coming down slowly, gentle tug, and sweeping up and off completely. Okay, so revealing the back, tucking the towel in, and applying some oil. Just a little at first, ready to stretch the back and the spine. Okay, Pamela, would you be able to give me a nice deep breath, please? That's a wonderful movement for the spine and for the erector spinae, which is a muscle which works each side of the spine here, and it stretches all the vertebrae out in a movement that you can't achieve yourself. You have to have someone doing it to you. It's just a wonderful feeling. Lovely feeling there. It's nice with the out breath. Wonderful. Okay. And a little more oil. It's amazing how much oil will absorb. You may need a little more oil than you think, depending on the size of the body or whether there's a lot of hair on the body. Okay, so wonderful movement, stretching all the way up the back. Obviously this is the effleurage again. Now you'll notice I'm using my palms mainly. I'm not pressing my fingers in. The palms do all the work. Very strong palms. Pushing upwards, always upwards, and always encompassing the shoulders, as so. And then coming up to the shoulder. Just want to raise your arm, Pam. And I'm going to hold it there for you. You can release any tension. Wonderful. Making sure I've got plenty of oil on the scapula, which is the shoulder blade here. There's a muscle here as well, which is a diamond-shaped muscle, working from the lower neck, diamond to the shoulder, down to this part of the back, over to the other shoulder, and up to the neck again. And this is the muscle which gets a lot of tension, a lot of pressure from the body without being released. We could really do with regular massages. Weekly would be wonderful, but if not, fortnightly or monthly to release this muscle. And that's just a wonderful feeling when you have it massaged. Okay, so working specifically on the scapula, doing a crisscross movement, and then in that chestboard doing some deep petrissage movement in each of the squares. And this is where you normally find crystals, lumps and bumps, builds up of lactic acid. Lactic acid is caused through not stretching properly after exercise and through stress. And I'm talking about physical stress and tension or mental. Wonderful. Okay, and releasing all that pressure. Nice palm movement over the shoulder. Okay, and releasing the arm back down again. And a little more oil ready to do the other shoulder. Okay, Pam, I'm just going to raise your arm again. Okay, I've got the pressure here. You just release. Oh, wonderful. You can see that the scapula raises when I raise the elbow there. So it makes it much easier and more prominent to work on. Lovely. I'll be working on the shoulders more thoroughly later. This is actually to do the back of the shoulders as opposed to along the ridge and the shoulder point. It's nice to drain all those fluids that collect underneath the scapula there as well. Pushing them across and following the line up and over. We have a lymph node in the chest out here called the subclavian vein, which collects all the lymph from that part of the body, from the upper half, so we need to push it up, over and collect in the front. Okay, now to the chestboard again. That's it. Relax your arms down. Introduce your hands back to the body again. Just need a little more oil. Amazing how much you use during a massage. Okay, that's nice. And now coming round to do some more percussion moves round the circle of the body. First of all, some squeezing, like you've seen earlier on the legs. There's actually, on everyone, a nice amount of body you can work with around this area, and it's nice to pick it up. It feels nice when you're having it done as well. Nice to pick it up and massage it. Okay, and then coming around and kneading, just like before. And onto the percussion moves. And the hacking. Okay. And back to the effleurage. Calm the body again after some quite physical movements there. and then working on the spine. Okay, coming down to the bottom of the spine, working on the sacrum, base of the spine here. It's not actually the end of the spine is the coccyx. It's the next few bones up which are fused together. And this area is like a plate of bone, and it quite often harbours toxins, and it's a wonderful feeling to have it massaged in that area, so that upside down triangle. Wonderful. Okay, and then working up from there, up through the lumbar, over the thoracic. Normally quite a lot of tension in that area. And then coming up to the neck and the cervical, which are the cervical vertebra, all the way up to the top of the neck. Nice feeling. Now I'm going to use a different move called vibration. The nerve endings are each side of the spine as well, and this move relates to the nerve endings, wakes them up. I'll do that one again. Lovely. And now finishing off with a hip stretch. And a thoracic stretch. And a shoulder stretch. As you can see, I'm pulling the shoulders back. Nice feeling. Always start and finish with an effleurage. And I always end with a stretch as well. Having wrapped the feet and put the pillow back underneath the knees, now going to continue with the upper half of the body. Going to start on the chest, moving on to the shoulders and then the neck. So introducing the hands to the chest area, putting oil all over the area, and a lovely flowing effleurage movement, working down over the clavicle, down the sternum, over the shoulder points. Nice firm movement underneath and pulling the neck. As you can see, I'm literally pulling, which is a lovely stretching, releasing movement for the whole spine. Nice feeling. It's very important to keep the towels covered, covering the body, so I normally make a line to show the client where the towel comes to, make them feel nice and secure. Okay, so having put the oil on, now doing a nice knuckling massage over the chest and round the shoulders. This area collects a lot of tension, so it needs a good firm massage, but having said that, when starting, the massage needs to be just warming and not too pinpoint firm, just nice whole hand firmness, otherwise there's a tendency to hurt the muscle. Okay, so another knuckling session. Around the chest, over the shoulders, and even including the neck. Nice feeling under there. And a stretch. Now I'm going to work on the chest area here. This movement is called tapotement, which is a French word literally meaning to tap. And even though this is a very light massage, it decongests the upper chest area all the way to the lungs. of any toxins. Very good for any chest problems, bronchitis, asthma, even down to a sore throat and a congested chest. And turning the head, just relax completely. The more you relax, the more you'll benefit. And then stretching round the shoulder and just gently pulling the head up. I've got my hand underneath the other side of the head, so I'm completely supporting the head here. And having effleuraged, I'm now going to do some more knuckling. At first, with the whole of my hand, all of my fingers are knuckling together. This area is very, very sensitive. A lot of tension here normally, and this is where you can feel great boulders, depending on the person. Not too bad here, just a little bit of tension that needs to be released. So I'm using my thumb on its own to go in a little bit deeper. The deeper I go, the slower I go, because it tends to be a little bit more painful. And then a nice stretch, effleurage out to bring all the toxins that I've just massaged out up, and bring the head back. And now I'm going to work on the other shoulder. So effleuraging round and pulling the head to this side. So now coming round to the left shoulder. A nice warming effleurage over the whole shoulder. And then coming in to do some knuckling around the shoulder, underneath, and round the back of the trapezius muscle. And coming round again, this time using just my thumb. That's nice. And a nice effleurage, bring all the toxins up again. Okay, coming round to the neck, just going to do a nice neck stretch. I'm lifting Pam's head here myself and coming up gently, and I'm using my 2 fingers each side of the spine and bringing up all the fluids, any toxins, bring them up each side of the spine and up around the neck here. Lovely feeling that is. And down. That will be different depending on the person and their flexibility. And then just finishing, coming up around the scalp and off. Just doing a nice finishing touch here where I hold the shoulders down, I hold them down and in, and that releases any pressure. And because I've covered the client up, it tells them that that's the end of the massage. This is a typical Swedish massage, which is the whole body and stops at the neck, whereas with other massages or with different courses, you are able to train to do the face and the scalp around the back of the head as well, to make it more thorough. But with this one, the Swedish massage tends to stop at the neck, and that would be an hour's massage. So having completed the full body massage, I'm now going to talk you through doing a 3-minute self-massage. You take the thumb of one hand and massage in a circular motion in the centre of the palm. And then come up the fingers, give them a nice circle and a pull. Okay. This is wonderful to boost the circulation, and you feel all the nerve endings tingling. Okay, so that's a nice one for the hand. Then coming up the forearm with the same thumb, work nicely, pressure going upwards up the centre there, and you're pushing all the lymph up to the elbow. Lovely. Then coming down to the foot, I want you to massage first of all the whole of the upper foot, like that, again with the thumb. The thumb does a lot of the work for you. And then exactly the same that you just did to the fingers, do to the toes. It's a nice massage to do. Good for mobility and flexibility. You getting the hang of that? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then maybe a little bit around the ankle bone. A bit more difficult to do it to yourself, but you'll get the knack of it. Okay, coming up to the knee. And maybe you can do two knees at the same time. It can be through clothes, it doesn't matter. And then put your thumbs again in a circular motion round your knees. And as you come from underneath, pull any toxins around and back to the behind the knee, like that. Okay. And then coming up, we're going to do a quick one on the stomach, but again through clothes. So we're going to start on your right hand side, and then upside down horseshoe all the way over and press down to the bowel here. So nice movement like this. That's it. Two hands is better, you can apply more pressure. Okay. And then coming up to the shoulders, and we always use the opposite hand to the opposite shoulder so that you're not tensing the shoulder at the same time. So like that, that's wonderful. And then start at the shoulder point, use the whole hand this time. Nice gripping motion, grip the fingers around the muscle, and then over onto the top of the trapezius, the muscle on the top of the shoulder here, and really grip it, and you'll feel a lot of tension there. Wonderful, you're doing well, you're stretching the neck at the same time, that's nice. And the same on the other side, so start at the shoulder point and up. And then we're coming up to the neck, two hands around the back of the neck, and put your head forward and then back into the massage. Put it right up. Wonderful. Maybe another one. Nice long sweep up the back of the neck and pull your hands up. That's right. That's it. Wonderful. So nice sweep upwards. Wonderful. And then coming up the front of the neck, we're going to give ourselves a facial massage, just a bit on the chin and the cheeks. Up the nose, just with a finger. That's it. And then nice one on the forehead, coming round, doing the temples, lovely. Okay, around the eyes, just with a finger. Lovely, all the way up, that's it. So we always come into the nose, up between the eyes. It's always that motion. And then finish on the temples. Lovely. And then very last point is up the scalp. So pick all the hair up and come up through the hair. You might want to give yourself a little massage at the back, either with your fingertips or with your whole palm, and then stretch the scalp, pull the hair. Nice one to end on. And that's just a very brief massage for any times that you haven't got much time and you just feel that you need a bit of a relax, and you can show your partner. It's a really nice one to do. So that's the end of the Swedish massage video. If you'd like more information, there will be names and addresses at the end of the video. I hope you took some tips from this and enjoyed watching. Thank you.